Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Ted Talks Ball. We've got a special Thursday afternoon edition, a special call-in open mic edition, a special farewell to the Warriors Dynasty edition. At least it sure looks that way. I don't know. You never know. They might be able to break up the big three and bring in some new stars and revamp things a little bit. But I don't see Clay leaving. I don't see the Warriors contending next season with the big three still intact. But maybe they'll prove me wrong. Steph definitely still has a little bit of gas left in the tank. But, Clay was actually playing well there towards the end of the season. It's just he had an 0 game against the Kings. Probably a big part of the difference in the game. Clay went 0 for 10. I think maybe 0 for 6 from 3. And can't do that in an elimination game. Let me go ahead and post up the link in case anybody wants to join the show. Here it comes. If I know you, if we've worked together, feel free to come on in. Let's see here. We got Fernando in the house. Fernando Storback. He says, thanks for tuning in, faithful. Make sure you all smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'll get to 49ers news soon. But I just thought the Warriors stuff was more compelling right this second since they just lost the night before last. And I just wanted to, thank them for incredible, 8, 10, 11 years since Steph and Clay and Dre got here. 4 rings, a lot of good times. And, all all dynasties come to an end at some point. And so, it looks like that's the case for the Warriors at this point. Got Gold Rush Gridiron in the house. He says, yo, how's it going? What's up? Going well. Better now that you're here. Thanks for joining. And we got Jimmy in the house. He says, yo, what's up, Ted? Not much, Jimmy. And Chad Schrader in the house. Say, what's up, Ted? Thanks, Chad. Great to see you. Anyway, I'm not going to go on too much about the Warriors since I know most of my fan base is 49ers fans and a lot of them are Lakers fans. Congrats to the Lakers for beating the Pelicans. It did seem like it was going to come right down to the wire until Zion got injured. And then the Lakers kind of ran away with it at the end. But they're going to need a lot of luck if they're going to beat the Denver Nuggets, the reigning NBA champions. That'll be a tough road to hoe for the Lakers. Tough road for the Kings. They're traveling to New Orleans to play the Pelicans, who are 0-5 in their last 5 meetings. However, only one of those losses came with Zion Williamson out. So I think that'll be Zion Williams. That'll be a big help for the Kings, and I'll definitely be rooting for the Kings the rest of the way. I like the way they play. I like De'Aaron Fox. I thought that missing Malik Monk was going to hurt them more than it did. They were also missing Herter too, but they managed to put a whooping on the Warriors. 24-point loss. It was tough to watch towards the end of that game for sure. He says Warriors dynasty over, yo. I think the one with Steph, Clay, and Dre is. I'm not convinced that you couldn't retool around Steph and still make another run or two with just Steph and some new faces. But it remains to be seen if the Warriors organization is willing to ship Clay off or Draymond or whatever. Daily Berry Sports highlights in the house. Make sure you check out his channel. He is a Rams fan, but he's a good, not bad for a Rams fan if there's such a thing. He says Lakers and 7, LOL. That's a pretty big LOL. I suppose anything's possible, but I'd be really, really surprised. Yeah, Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat. He's, I guess, sprained his MCL. He's out for a few weeks. And that's probably, it won't be much season left for him when he comes back, unfortunately. Jimmy says we all know the Lakers will fall short against the Nuggets. That's what it seems super likely, but, maybe. if LeBron and Anthony Davis and all those guys really pull it together. D'Lo, and they might be able to give them a run for their money. Might pull it to 6 games. I don't think it'll go to 7 games though. I'd be surprised. If Kings win at all, I wouldn't mind either. I like the Kings. I like Malik Monk. The only King I don't care for is I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden. The big guy. Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. Not a big fan of him, but the rest of the Kings, there's a lot to like with them. Keegan Murray just shot his rear end off against us. He was incredible. He started out with making 3 threes, and he made pretty much every shot we contested. Like ones he missed it were uncontested shots, which was pretty funny. But congrats to the Kings, light the beam, all that. They slayed the dragon in the Bay Area. They've obviously been looking up to the Warriors for a long time. And for at least right now, the Kings are, on top of the Bay Area. Or the extended Bay Area, NorCal, whatever you want to call it, since Sacramento isn't quite exactly the Bay Area. Thoughts on Jalen Brunson? I don't have any, except for, just when we played the Mavs on our way to our last ring. I actually went to that Game 5 when we closed them out at Chase Center, and I felt like Jalen Brunson, it was a really good player. I liked him a lot. I liked him. Obviously, they have Luka, but then I also like the guy who they got from, I think he came from like the Knicks or the Cavs or somebody. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, Dinwiddie or something like that. Anyway, bottom line is they had a good big 3, and Jalen Brunson was one of them. He's a good, solid point guard. I like him a lot. So if you mean for the Warriors, I'd love to see him. I mean, we're definitely going to lose Chris Paul. It seems like almost certainly. And Jalen Brunson would be a big upgrade in my mind over Chris Paul. And then, as far as maybe I'll switch the banner here, or the overlay, I should say, and switch over, talk a little bit of 49ers stuff. Obviously, since I was last on with Ryan on Tuesday, it was the Trent Taylor re-signing. It's probably the biggest, news as far as real news. I personally don't think it's a big deal. I'm not really enamored with Trent Taylor. Never really was, other than 2017, or was it 2018? I don't know. He was all right for a minute for us, but he got injured a lot and hasn't really done too much of note since. So I'm just thinking that's like camp body depth, what have you. Obviously, there's more in the Brandon Ayuk stuff with the Steelers saying they think they'll get him, or at least some source saying the Steelers are confident they'll get him. I talked to some of my Steelers buddies, and they thought maybe Jacksonville might be more likely since they lost Calvin Ridley. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I since the beginning have said I think that Brandon Ayuk wants to stay. I think the Niners want to keep him. So I'm confident that a deal will get done. But you never know. Obviously, offensive line is a big need. And if they could use it to get a good tackle for a lot of years, I wouldn't hate that move either. Says, I don't know, people can't expect Steph to carry. Yeah, no, definitely not. Steph is 36. He'll be 37 next year. It's a lot for an older guy like that, especially a guy who's not real big, to expect him to carry the full load for the team all the time. So, yeah, that's like I said, Jalen Brunson. I like that. Yeah, Trent Taylor's buddies with George Kittle. I like that part. But the on-field stuff, he just doesn't really wow me as a wide receiver or as a punt returner. So I don't know if you can think of another way to use him. More power to you. Other news, like I said, there was the Brandon Ayuk stuff. Brandon Ayuk's agent has been busy. He popped out again and said that this Steelers rumor stuff was just more unconfirmed stuff from unserious sources, essentially. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But the bottom line is, Steelers stuff. It kind of makes sense. They're at a level with the pick 20 in the draft. A lot of people think that's what Brandon Ayuk might be worth. So I see why people are talking about it. It's just the Steelers typically don't tend to make big trades. They typically tend to use most of their draft picks in the draft to draft young players, cost-controlled players. But then again, what's that gotten them lately? They've gotten, a bazillion 9-win seasons, but not a lot of playoff wins. So I see people arguing both sides of that regarding Mike Tomlin being a good coach or not, and that, they win a lot of regular season games, but not a lot once the regular season's over, at least since Ben Roethlisberger left, and he obviously got them their last ring. What else is going on? So as far as other news, there's really not a ton going on. We got the draft exactly 1 week from today. Today's the 18th. It starts on the 25th of April. And, for me, all along for Niners draft needs, I've been saying right guard, right tackle, a tight end who can block and catch, corner, safety, inside linebacker. Defensive tackle, defensive end. The defense, we need folks at pretty much every level, and kind of corner and safety at the back end, and D tackle and D end on the D line. So quite a bit of help needed across the board for the 49ers. As far as which goes first, I think it depends on who's available. The Niners rarely draft best player available. They typically tend to draft for need, and they tend to reach. So I saw Roger Rosengarten for offensive tackle. That wouldn't surprise me at all. A corner wouldn't surprise me. I saw there was a note about a visit from a top wide receiver. Let me get to my bookmarks here. That I'm pretty sure I bookmarked, and I was maybe I didn't, but apparently he's a good route runner in this class. Trying to think of his name. I think he's the son of another NFL player because his name sounded familiar. But some people have talked about him as the 49ers 31st pick potentially. And let me see if I can figure out who I'm talking about here. But bottom line is, a good route runner is something that would be helpful for the 49ers. I just don't think wide receiver is that big of a need unless they really aren't planning on re-signing Brandon Ayuk, in which case it would be a pretty big need. I'm not finding it. He is definitely one of the top wide receiver prospects, and maybe I can look that up. 2024. No, didn't come up that way either. So we got Marvin Harrison Jr. It wasn't him. Malik Neighbors, Romo Duns from Washington. It wasn't him. Brian Thomas. Lad McConkey is the name. And the big board rank is 32. So PFF big board rank 32. So that's, that wouldn't be so much of a reach for the 49ers. We only reached one spot. But I don't know a ton about him. I had seen more of other wide receivers in the draft, but I'm pretty sure that would be Jason McConkey's son, would be my guess. I think an old former New York Giant wide receiver. Because McConkey is not a real common name. So anyway, that's sort of what's been going on. Obviously, the Warriors eliminated, didn't make the playoffs. No 10 seed has ever made the playoffs before. I thought the Warriors might make a little history that way, and even more if they made some noise in the playoffs. But Clay went 0 for 10. And I'm not blaming it all on Klay Thompson by any stretch of the imagination. But, I think the Warriors missed GP2. He was out. I thought, with the Warriors missing GP2 and the Kings missing Malik Monk, I thought Malik Monk would hurt the Kings more than GP2 would hurt the Warriors. But that was probably part of it. Also, for some reason, Trace Jackson Davis didn't play much, and he's been playing a lot lately for the Warriors. Maybe because it's such a high-pressure game and he's a rookie. But I know he plays good defense, and so the Warriors' defense was not very good against the Kings, and the Kings' defense was very good against the Warriors. So, congratulations to Keegan Murray, to Keon Ellis, I believe his name is, the second-year player out of Alabama. He defended Steph real well and even scored a few points. And, the Kings did great, and I hope they do make something of it. I'd like to see them make a nice little run here in the playoffs. And then just as far as the 49ers go, hoping that, like I said, we address some of those key needs either in the draft or in free agency or with trades. And my hope, I know it's crazy, is that we would somehow move up for Brock Bowers. Super unlikely, but the best. I've been saying we need a tackle. The best friend for a tackle is a good tight end outside of him, and we just need somebody to help free up George Kittle so that he can get back to running more routes, catching more balls, getting more yak. He's an incredible blocker, but he's incredible at those other things too. So, love to see that. Otherwise, I don't really pay too much attention to the players visiting the team because it hasn't really shown much of a correlation or causation to them being drafted in the past. But it's fun just to keep up with the news and see. And I hope we don't miss Adam Peters too much in this draft. Him going to the Commanders, I think, is big. That with coupled with Rand Carthon going to the Titans last year were two of our best guys in the scouting department, according to the sort of common knowledge. Nobody knows for sure who makes what picks or whatnot, but those two guys were thought to be two of the smarter guys in the room. Other than that, I will just say thanks everybody who stopped by. I'll say peace and go Niners.